from Prairie View either, but give UCLA credit. They got the turnovers, they got the rebounds, and got out in transition.
UCLA was 4 players with 7 points or more. Nobody for Prairie View scored at least 7 points.
Well, you wonder how long these UCLA starters are going to play in the second half.
Remember, UCLA has a game Thursday night in New York City against Duke.
If they can keep the lead, come out the first 5 minutes, you can put them away with the right mindset.
And so these guys are going to get, what, 3 days of practice and then get on an airplane on Wednesday?
No, they'll probably leave Tuesday. Now that you're out of school, you can afford the extra day, get used to the time change. So probably practice early Tuesday, fly out, be there Tuesday night, practice Wednesday, get ready for Thursday.
Prairie View started the game hitting 5 of their first 8 shots. They closed the half hitting 5 of their last 20. But that was the UCLA defense. It was just better.
And again, UCLA starting in their man-to-man defense, but we saw a good portion of that first half. They were in their 2-3 zone.
Powell went to the floor, came up empty. Prairie View, plenty of time still, double digits on the shot clock. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and take a shot early. Montrell Scott.
He's a good-looking player. I think he could play in the Pac-10. Pac-12, excuse me. Going back to my days, Pac-10.
At least you didn't say Pac-8. I do that sometimes. You think kids even know it used to be the Pac-8?
No, they don't even know it's a Pac-10.
Our referees today, by the way, Tommy Nunez, Keith Kimball, and Kurt Walker. And when we don't mention the referees' names till the second half, they're doing a good job, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
UCLA students who stayed on campus are here and making noise right behind us, and they're doing it at the right time. When UCLA's on defense, they know what's important.
It's interesting. Prairie View down 24 continues to run the shot clock almost all the way down on every possession.
But the same way that UCLA is using this game as a prep against Duke, don't you think Prairie View is also using this game to set themselves up for conference?
Yeah. I mean, it's a step up in competition for them. They're not going to see this kind of size and this kind of skill in the Southwestern Athletic Conference, but you know, you also play to win games too. There's no moral victories, and you want to show well here at UCLA.
After this game, Prairie View is going on the road to Kalamazoo, and they'll play at Western Michigan next Saturday. And for Prairie View, this is a long road trip. The Panthers are on the road for 3 weeks through 4 states.
That was an early clock possession there, made 3.
Powell comes right back for UCLA, so 3 baskets inside of 20 seconds in this game, and that goes against the grain. This is what we've been used to with Prairie View stopping it at one end. John Briscoe.
If you're UCLA, you got to look at the second half as getting something out of it, building on the habits you're trying to create, getting better on the backboard, guarding better individually in your man-to-man defense. Don't just give this last 20 minutes away because of the scoreboard.
Briscoe misses, Adams a rebound.
I think what will be good for UCLA if this score stays the same is they can give Wanda Bale a big chunk of minutes.
Anderson, second time today we've seen him go wraparound, keeping himself, and go to the basket and score.
Can't guard him, too big. Kyle Anderson at 6'9", with the way he handles the ball, is a matchup nightmare. Has been from last year, right to the rim of the finish. UCLA, big.
You hear that? That's the sound of car insurance companies these days. Here at cheap, there at cheap, everywhere at cheap. You get it. So what if instead of just a cheap choice, you could make a smart choice? Like Esurance, for example. They were born online and built to save people money from the beginning. It's what they've always done. Not just something they cheap about. That's insurance for the modern world. Esurance, now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
But this is their first real test tonight, a great opportunity for Utah to prove that it's not just a schedule, that they are in fact a good team this year.
Utah is picked to finish 9th in the conference, but I think a lot of people aren't sure what Utah has. UCLA, by the way, is picked second. Arizona is picked to win the Pac-12, and Arizona is #1 in the country right now. They won today.
Well, we showed you Loveridge, but DeLon Wright, a JC guy that came in, brother of Darrell Wright, who plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. Similar to Kyle Anderson. 16 points a game, just under 7 rebounds and 6 assists.
Powell from outside. Yeah, Loveridge and Wright average, 33 points and about 16 rebounds a game.
Wright has really kind of burst on the scene here for Utah.
Bruins lead is 30. They won last year by 42 against Prairie View. Here's Powell, give it up late.
See that? That's a perfect example, Waddy, of what I was talking about in the first half. Powell could have taken that himself, and nobody would have said anything. But instead, he drops it off to Ware for the easier one.
Sharing it. He's a junior. UCLA has started the half hitting their first 5 shots.
Well, sometimes you take the will of the opposition, and I think if Prairie View had started this half better, they would have stayed in it. But sometimes when the lead gets so far out of hand, the other team's defeated and they know it.
Powell and Ware again. Powell picks up a couple of assists, and Ware picks up a couple of baskets.
You really find out about your team and if they are unselfish in this type of situation, because you know you're winning the game. Do you have any I'm going to get mine guys right now? And UCLA, it really doesn't look like they do.
Here's Powell again, but the heads up already in the backcourt. He got his pocket picked. It's the second time that Trey Haygood has taken one away from a Bruin in the backcourt, and then he scores.
Well, the unselfishness is contagious, and UCLA, the best assist team in the league. Good example of that is when a guy's in transition, he doesn't force it, throws it back to Travis Ware for the easy one.
It's taller.
And you mentioned earlier about the crowd, and that's one of the jobs of Steve Alford in his new job here, is to not only win games, but get people rejuvenated again on UCLA basketball and get people excited about coming to watch. And certainly got away from it the last couple of years. Attendance was down, people weren't excited, no buzz about the program, and it's going to take some time. It can't happen immediately, but that is what's required of Steve Alford in his new position here, is to get people excited about UCLA basketball again.
And Don, I don't think that Dan Guerrero was expecting people to be real excited on day one. Steve Alford is the kind of guy that builds a program. He's not one of those splashy names that everybody's going to get all excited and talk about on day one, and then it fades. It's going to be the reverse. He's going to start ground level and work his way up. He did it at Iowa. He did it at New Mexico. He even did it at Manchester College in Indiana, a Division III school. The guy paid his dues on his way up.
Absolutely, and he was polarizing at his press conference because of some of the things that happened when he was at Iowa and how he left New Mexico. So people were kind of, I don't know, lukewarm at the hiring, but from what I've seen in this first 10 games, I mean, this team is going to be fun to watch. They're going to be good offensively, and as you said, building the culture defensively. And if they can do that, this team's going to contend for league championships every year. They're going to go deep into the NCAA tournament every year. And he's already off to a good start in recruiting. So everything's pointing the right direction. It just takes some time to get that fan base coming and selling this thing out every night and getting everyone excited.
And everybody talks about UCLA fans being so spoiled with the 11 national championships. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
That was the last chapter. This is all new stuff now. And I'll tell you, the UCLA folks, the ones who are around this program all the time that I've talked to, they weren't real excited. They thought it was a curious hire. But now they start to look at the numbers. They look at the way this team plays, that they're good at the defensive end. They're really good at the offensive end. And now they're starting to be intrigued.
Well, that's exactly right. And people I talk to that really follow the program, that are big-time UCLA fans, they said in the first 10 minutes of the first game they could tell it was going to be more fun to watch, better offensively, more free-flowing and all that. So, but again, as we said, it doesn't happen overnight. It may take all year. And if they do well in the conference season and in the NCAA tournament, maybe at the start of next year you see some progress in that area.
Bryce Alford is back in for UCLA. By the way, Bryce Alford hit a 3 in the first half, which means he's hit at least one three-pointer in every game that he's played at UCLA. Foul inside. The Bruins with 3 players now in double figures. Powell's got 13, Adams has 11, Travis Ware has 10.
Well, this is a good opportunity. I mentioned Juana Bale hopefully getting a big chunk of minutes for UCLA. For Tony Parker, too. Just, you hate to put it this way, but basically lost his starting job tonight. And, whether or not that took some confidence from him or not, we don't know. Only he knows, but maybe you can get some of it back if it did here in the second half in a game that's a 30-point game. No pressure, no expectation. Just go out there and play.
Well, so much of that is just going to be attitude. The offense going to watch the way he reacts. Look, there's 25 games left in the season. A lot of things are going to happen. Guys are going to go into cold spells. They're going to get injured. It's a long road, a lot of travel.
Foul trouble.
Yeah, so you got to be ready. You're going to get another chance. Baseline, Trey Haygood has been challenging UCLA inside. Nice look. Patrick Ago. He did not play in the first half. Another of those transfers. Began his collegiate career at Nicholls State, then transferred to Baton Rouge Community College before finding his way to Prairie View.
UCLA, you don't want to turn it off, because especially for the guys that play big minutes most of the time, you're probably not going to play very much longer. So finish the game the right way, and 2 easy buckets for Prairie View the last 2 possessions.
Lewis Munks now with 5 points for Prairie View. He's looked good in stretches tonight. UCLA defensively is allowing 70 points a game. Can you win in conference allowing 70? It's a new type of Pac-12 basketball team. Score now.
You can't win the conference title, I don't think, giving up 70 points a game, because there's going to be a team, whether it's Arizona or Oregon or Colorado or Cal or Arizona State, whoever it is going to get good defensively, and they'll probably hold them under 70. And style of play matters, and UCLA is going to be more open, so they would tend to give up more points. But I think the better question is, are they going to be good enough defensively come January, February, March to win this conference title?
In the coaches poll, Arizona was picked first, UCLA was second, and Colorado was third. But UCLA and Colorado each got 1 first-place vote. Now, you can't vote for your own team, so Sean Miller probably voted for one of those 2 teams. So say he voted for UCLA, where'd that Colorado vote come from? It's a rhetorical question.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting about UCLA's schedule in a break, a real good break they got, is they do not go to the Arizonas this year, which is huge, because not only Arizona, but Arizona State much improved this year again.
Stripped away by Haygood. That's the 3rd time that Haygood has taken the ball in the backcourt from a Bruin.
It's always interesting, and we're what, 2 weeks away from 2.5 weeks away from conference play starting. Would you go back and re-rank the media poll right now? Well, from the Arizona top, would still be number 1. I think you could make an argument for UCLA, Colorado, or Oregon as number 2.
Yeah. Cal was 5th. Would you keep them there?
Probably, yeah. I mean, if Colorado, Oregon,
who would you move?
UCLA, that's 2, 3, 4. I think Cal is 5. I think.
Yeah.
I would say I'd maybe move USC up from 11th. I think they're going to beat some people this year. I don't think they're going to finish that far down. Now, I don't think they're going to contend or anything like that, but I just think they're going to finish higher than 11th.
Yeah, you and I had a chance to do a USC game a couple of weeks ago. Omar Arabi, the big Egyptian inside, has been pretty good for USC early in this year. They needed him to step up. He knew he was going to get extended minutes. Arizona, number 1 in the country. Oregon and Dana Altman, good again and scoring a lot of points. Joseph Young.
In Colorado with a signature win at home against Kansas.
And that's a big one for Boyle, because he's got all the ties to Kansas. They won it on a 3-pointer at the buzzer. The crowd there goes crazy in the Coors Event Center. That was a real high watermark for that program.
I was saying this on our playbook show this week about Colorado. Ever since Tad Boyle's gotten there, it has been on a constant trending upward. Everything it just continues to go positive, go forward, and go up. And with that Kansas win, just continued that.
I did about 5 or 6 games in Boulder last year, and I was just impressed. with the support they have. They like Boyle. He's a very popular guy. They like the style. He's bringing in a lot of very good players. Askia Booker has been fantastic. Dinwiddie, Scott, these guys can all put up big numbers.
How about the Colorado sold out their season tickets before the season started?
Yeah, that's right.
That's impressive.
That's the support. Here at Pauley, UCLA continues to lead big by 28 now. Midway through the second half, UCLA will play Duke in New York on Thursday night. And for Prairie View, they'll wait until next Saturday at Western Michigan. UCLA opens its conference season here at Pauley, January 5th against arch rival USC. A big crowd, chance at a 4-point play as Adams runs into Montreal Scott. He hits the three and he'll go to the line. You're only going to see that twice a year.
We don't have an alarm clock.
Down in North Carolina, it was a thrilling victory. And the Bruins were the best team in the conference all year long. National champs, number 110 for UCLA.
Congratulations to them. Make you earn it in the rain, huh? No freebies on the drive field.
It was freezing too. And by the way, the volleyball tournament is going on right now as well. The Pac-12 has 3 teams still alive. Washington and USC are playing later tonight at the Galen Center across town, and Stanford is playing Penn State. That's the Elite 8, the regional finals for volleyball.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, Waddy. You're so versatile. You got all the sports covered, man.
Is that the word? 68-44 at Pauley. You know, it's still strange when I walk in here because I've been coming here like you. Grew up in Southern California since I was a kid. And the outside of Pauley, you know, it's changed a little bit, but the roof still looks the same. And then you walk in, now the seats are so much closer, it's so much more intimate. It's the new Pauley Pavilion, but to me, it's still that same building. It still has that same feel.
They did a great job of keeping the integrity of the old building, but making it a new building. And with the way they configured it, I think the seating is configured so much better now. But just everything upgraded. The concourse upgraded, the locker rooms, all the facilities. Significant upgrades, and like I said, did a great job with this place.
And of course, Pauley has that thread to the past. It was designed by Coach Wooden. He wanted it as a practice facility, and it was used for intramurals, so they maximized space down on the floor, got as many courts as they could in here.
But in this day and age of college basketball and recruiting, you have to have a beautiful building and
the
beautiful
kids.
Locker rooms and all that stuff.
Taken away, Andre Adams, easy.
This game's getting a little sloppy for UCLA, and
give Prairie View some credit for showing some grit.
Yep.
Getting worked on the road, a long way from home. These guys have been living out of suitcases for 2 weeks.
Down to 21.
Adams from the corner. Looked like he didn't even have a great handle on it. He still threw it in.
A wide open set up by the kick out by Bryce Alford.
Now, UCLA had just 3 turnovers in the first half, 4 turnovers to begin the second half.
But defensively, too, it's gotten a little easy for Prairie View. A lot of drives to the rim. Wasn't happening in the first half.
Swinging through the lane is Patrick Aggo.
And Fallon.
Aggo hit his first shot. Now he's got a chance for 5 points. Quickly.
Do your work early if you're Tony Parker, and probably too deep of a post for Aggo. And the last thing you want to do in that situation, if you haven't done your work and you've let him get down there, don't foul him. Contest. If he makes it, run back down the other way.
Prairie View is on an 18-5 run right now as UCLA turns it over for the 5th time in the second half. Well, this is just focus and discipline.
Well, it's battling human nature. When you get a 35-point lead, you typically just shut it down. And your focus, your concentration isn't as good. And this is what happens. Gets a little sloppy.
Anderson in and out, back in.
Something he really worked on this offseason. He knew that people were going to guard him tighter, and they weren't going to let him post up as much, so he was going to have to become a better perimeter shooter. And for him, playing at the next level, he's going to have to be able to knock down jump shots.
Again, the interior defense breaks down. Montreal Scott with the lay-in. Steve Alford, a bit of concern there. He knows they got to be better than that. The defensive end against Duke on Thursday night. Anderson goes back-to-back from outside. This is a guy who had a triple-double earlier this year against Morehead State, 13, 12, and 11.
Waddy, this is your first time here. He's close to a triple. He's not really tonight, but every night he's threatening a triple-double.
He's the closest guy in the country statistically to a triple-double, and sometimes it pops through. Here's UCLA, what's down the road. After Duke, they have Weber State and Alabama before they get into conference. But look at that. You start with your rival, and then you welcome in the #1 team in the country.
Yeah, and that January 5th game is a Sunday noon start. And then you come back on Thursday night with Arizona coming in here. So, big week for UCLA to start the conference.
Here's Munks at the line for Prairie View. The last 3 years, Prairie View was one of the worst teams in the country at the free throw line. I mean, they were in the bottom 5 3 years in a row. Those are just 3 points you're giving away.
Yeah.
Well, now Byron Rim has gotten their attention. They're shooting 72% on the year. They're about 58% tonight.
And that's really good. If your team's over 70, that's pretty good.
I remember you were a pretty good free throw shooter back in the day.
That was all right.
I think you had a couple of 12 for 12s and 13 for 13s, right?
If I remember correctly, I led the country my senior year in percentage. So
I'm sorry, if you remember correctly, is it etched on the wall at home?
No.
I remember watching you play here. You got your points because you knew you were going to get hammered. You were getting a lot of defensive attention. Why don't kids shoot free throws anymore?
Well, I don't like to go to the when I played card a lot, but I'll tell you what, if I was playing right now in college basketball with the rule changes, be shooting a lot of free throws. And I'm surprised that we haven't found those guys yet. And maybe, you know, Dinwiddie's good at drawing fouls, Jahi Carson. So as the season goes along, I'm interested to watch the guys that are already pretty good at getting fouled using these new rule changes to get fouled even more and get themselves to the line.
You broached the subject. Do you like the new rules?
I didn't think I was going to like them. I think I like it being less physical, but what I don't like, and it is what it is, I've always been a fan of fouls being called when it's advantage, disadvantage. If it's a foul being called just because it's a foul when there was no advantage, disadvantage, what's the point? But that's the state of affairs now. You hand check a ball handler, it's a foul, there's no gray area, there's no advantage, disadvantage. So I guess I am, because it's cleaned up the game. It's noticeably less physical. So we'll see as it goes along. But so far I've been surprised because I thought it was going to be a nightmare to start, to be honest. I thought there was going to be games where there's 70 fouls called.
Yep. Like
that one right there. That's a perfect example.
Well, and remember, it was like that for about 2 weeks, and then everybody made the adjustment. I was really surprised how well the players made the adjustment on the fly. These are free throw attempts in the conference, and you just mentioned Dinwiddie at Colorado, and then Jordan Adams here at UCLA.
Well, Dinwiddie's the best in the conference.
And Adams is 61 of those 71 coming in, about 86%.
Yeah, Dinwiddie's been good at that since he got to Colorado.
Like I always talk about it, that guards got to shoot better than 70% at the line. Probably should be 75. And then your threes and your fours probably about 5% lower than that, and your bigs about 5% lower than that. And you just don't see it that way. I always challenge people to pick up a box score. Any game that is a 5-point difference, go right to the free throws. Yeah. And I bet you can figure out who won that game.
Well, my contention would be, why do guards have to shoot it better? Why can't bigs be good foul shooters?
Absolutely.
You know? Work on it.
Montreal Scott has 18 points for Prairie View, and he's 3 for 3 from outside the arc in the second half. Jonathan Bates, our statistician today. There he is.
That's just lazy pick and roll defense. I mean, all he did was use the screen and step back. No contest, no hedge.
That's 21 points for Scott.
I don't know what their coverage is on screen roll defense right now, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't it.
Well, he was their leading scorer coming in, so if I knew that, certainly Steve Alford and his staff knew that. Not sure if that basket counts. Yes, it does count. Brings UCLA to 80 points. The Bruins averaging 88 a game. Jordan Adams, a little push-off. That'll work at the next level.
You hear that? That's the sound of car insurance companies these days. Here at Cheap, there at Cheap, everywhere at Cheap, you get it. So what if instead of just a cheap choice, you could make a smart choice? Like Esurance, for example. They were born online and built to save people money from the beginning. It's what they've always done. Not just something they cheap about. That's insurance for the modern world. Esurance, now backed by Allstate. Click or call.
There's no such thing as no man's land to me. A man just needs a place where he can be wild and free. 10 calories.
Dr. Pepper 10, manliest low-calorie soda in the history of mankind. Bold flavor.
There are those who think basketball is just a game. But in the Pac-12, basketball is a legacy. Here, every team a descendant of the icons that walked the court before them. This is our blueprint for excellence. The sky's the limit as new legacies are born and championships won. This is the Pac-12, the Conference of Champions.
Once again reset. They call them the winner plays, and hopefully they're titled that for a reason. Ski Booker to get the inbound. Booker launches a three. And Colorado has defeated Kansas 75-72.
Askia Booker, Colorado beating Kansas. I loved Agent Zero. After he shot it, Don, it went in. He just stood there and let him run to him.
Do you think that was intentional, or he was just recognizing what he just did?
Oh, he knew what he did. He wanted that ball. It's Askia Booker.
That was a big-time move to get free and then to knock it down. That's not an easy shot, obviously, but that's how you get Pac-12 Player of the Week, by knocking game-winning shots down like that.
Jordan Adams goes to the line. We told you shooting 86% from the line coming in on the year. Foul was called on Montreal Scott. It's his third personal. Norman Powell back in for UCLA. And Adams to the bench. Might be the last we see of Jordan Adams today. In games like this, you want to get better and you want to stay healthy.
Well, and that's the thing, is they kind of let Prairie View back in. I know it's 23, but it should be 40 by now.
And now Munks hits the three and cuts it to 20.
You know, 20's close enough to where you can't just empty your bench early. Give the second unit, though, probably more of a chance to get some minutes together.
Step back, Travis Weir wouldn't go. Montgomery had the rebound. It was taken away by Montreal Scott quickly into the front court. Prairie View has shown a lot of discipline tonight.
And zones will make you do that, and that's the thing with UCLA. It's a pretty big zone. You're going to figure out how you're going to attack it.
Andre Adams inside. He lost the handle. Zach LaVine wants to go.
See how LaVine just glides. He's one of those guys, you know, that's it's effortless.
Yeah, big strides. He got out of the backcourt in about 4 steps. There he is with the ball, leading all freshmen in the conference in scoring. Parker spins one way, comes back the other, and scores. That's his best play of the game.
Yeah, that was a nice play. Good poise not to force it. Spins back the other way, goes left shoulder jump hook.
LaVine, he's got those long arms, so he's gonna get a lot of those long caroms like that. He's one of those outside players that goes to the basket on shots, doesn't drift out for the outlet.
He's handling some here in the second half. That's the thing with him and Bryce Alford. It doesn't really matter which of those two brings it up because both can play off the ball, both can shoot. It's not like one of them's got to bring it up every time.
5 minutes to play in the game. A three-pointer by Prairie View could bring it under 20. There's the three. Backside board almost put back by Lewis Munks. And Prairie View is going to keep it. Gives us a chance to look at our amazing player of the game. Brought to you by Quicken Loans. You remember Ryan Anderson go around his back and beat one and beat two.
I mean, his ball handling looks like he's always going to lose it. I talked about this in the first half. Looks like he's going to lose it or it's going to get stolen, and then all of a sudden he is scoring or putting a pass right on the money.
From St. Anthony's High School in New Jersey. That was Hurley's school, right? Bobby Hurley's school.
The stuff I do with Adidas in the summer, I've known Kyle since he was in 10th grade and always been the same player. Great handle, great size, great playmaker. It's interesting talking to personnel people around the league, guys I see at these games. You know, some are really high on Anderson and some wonder about his position.
I think you have to watch him play for a little bit. If you watch 5 minutes, you think he's a little sloppy.
Well,
like you said, it always looks like he's about to lose the ball.
He's not a great athlete. Because of the athleticism, probably can't play point guard at the next level. But you say he's a good rebounder and he's got great size. Here's what I say, because people were saying that about his athleticism going from high school to college. He's one of those players that's just a very good basketball player, and a good team will figure out a role for him because he's such a good basketball player.
And he's going to have to come back into this game, Don, because Norman Powell has fouled out. He picked up a couple in a row there. So Powell's finished, and with 4.5 minutes to go, you would expect Powell would stick around in a game like this. But it was getting a little choppy this game. So he's finished, and Anderson now has to come back in.
I'm pretty sure Steve Alford would like to just end this thing right now. It's gotten really sloppy the last 8-9 minutes. Defensively, I don't think they've gotten anything out of it. They're just kind of coasting in here.
Anderson comes back in the game and gets another rebound. Well, Zach LaVine is going to be a star by the time he's done with his freshman year, because you remember him after every game.
You know what he's going to be is every UCLA highlight on every sports show, he's going to be part of the highlight every night.
It's the third time tonight he's had this kind of breakaway, and as you said, because of the glide, he's getting his elbow above the rim, but nobody,
elbow above the rim. His head was almost on the rim on that one.
Nobody can stay with him once he gets the ball. It was what, one dribble, 2 steps, and right to the 10.
In a day and age of basketball where most guys are really good 2-foot jumpers, he is a really good 1-foot jumper.
He's a long jumper.
And he's got the speed and the burst to get ahead of everyone, and then the lift to make exciting dunks.
And he's going to the basket every time he gets it. You're going to have to stop him. Anderson spins, dump it inside. Wanna-Bail. Nice. A little high-low.
That's Anderson at his best right there.
So since he's come back in the game, he has a rebound and an assist.
He's light on the assist tonight. I think that's only his 2nd assist tonight.
And for Wanna-Bail, that's a season high. 4 points. Good for him.
Hasn't played a lot, but again, as I mentioned in the first half, as Scott knocks down another 3, this is important for Wanna-Bail. Get 4 or 5 minutes here. Try and incorporate yourself into playing with this group.
Again, coming off that surgery on the left knee. It doesn't look like he has any kind of a wrap on it. It was torn cartilage. David Weir steps out.
Both the Wares are really good at that inside pivot jumper from 12 to 17 feet.
Yeah, they learned that at Modern Day High School down in Orange County, where they were both phenomenal on a team that went deep into state every year, and it's because they can all shoot. Zach LaVine is the new name in Westwood. How long until you start seeing those number 14 jerseys start showing up on the kids? They like the highlights. Look at this. Look out. That's picture perfect.
guys know what this is like. Dr. Neuheisel, can you please explain?
I'm going with the Trojans. His offense is just going berserk.
You're killing me, man. You really are. We're talking ball here.
Football Weekly, Wednesdays at 6 on Pac-12 Networks.
No problem.
When cold refreshment calls, Coors Light answers. Frost brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Jeepers, it's the creeper!
What do we do now? It's a mystery.
I know. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Zoinks! It's Lucy, like our favorite State Farm agent lady.
Hi, gang. I'll handle it. And that's not really a monster.
Creeper!
Mr. Carswell!
You meddling kids.
State Farm takes the mystery out of dealing with insurance. Get to a groovier state.
Up next, men's basketball continues. The Runnin' Utes host rival BYU.
Right down the lane, lays that up and in.
Live coverage continues next on Pac-12 Networks.
Pac-12 basketball is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And by Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Inside the Hall of Fame room, you recognize some of those pictures. That's Jim Herrick up there on the top row.
Yeah, it is. Coach's corner.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's the old UCLA logo. Hey, Tuesday, a courtside seat and a close-up look at every Pac-12 basketball team, including highlights, interviews, insight from the experts who live the game. It's the newest edition, Pac-12 Basketball Playbook. It's Tuesday at 6:30 on the Pac-12 Networks. That's Mike Yam, Ernie Kent, and Don McClain.
I would be shocked if there's not an Emmy in store this year for Playbook.
Are you serving up the softies to Ernie Kent? You helping out the coach?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun. I love doing that show.
You know, I did a lot of games with Coach Kent last year, and he gets so excited during games. He actually punches you in the arm when he's getting excited. On the air. He's fun.
You ever punch him back?
Never once. Never once. Just thanked him for his time. A couple of big scores for Prairie View. Scott has 24, and Munks, who's at the line, has 13. The rest of the team has 29 points.
Yeah, what's the takeaway from this game for UCLA? I would say that the first half, your offensive efficiency was terrific. Second half, let's throw the tape away.
Yeah.
You know, not much to get out of this.
I don't think Alford's going to beat that rug too much. He's going to talk about the first half. But look, one of the things I heard coming out of the Missouri game, and again, these are critics of the UCLA program, we want to see if they can put 40 minutes together against a good team. It's not the case tonight. They didn't put 40 minutes, but Thursday against Duke, that test is going to reveal a lot.
Yeah, and they will. And the biggest issue, and we've talked about it tonight, is the backboard. Can they compete on the glass with the nationally ranked teams? Because they're going to have to in the Pac-12 conference race with Arizona, for sure, who's got one of the best front lines in the country. But that's what this time of year is for, is to clean up the things that you don't do well, so that once you get to the conference, you are doing them well. And now that they've addressed this rebounding issue, can they continue to evolve as a rebounding team? And that'll be the challenge on Thursday night.
Rebounds and defense still win championships, right?
Well, especially if you got the offense covered, which they do. There are some teams that are challenged offensively that it's even more important for them to be better defensively.
Don't run off. Coming up next, it's rivals BYU against Jordan Loveridge and the Runnin' Utes of the U of U. Pac-12 basketball presented by Quicken Loans. Coverage continues next, followed by a basketball post-game show, which is at 9 o'clock tonight on the Pac-12 networks. And it's been a busy day. Almost everyone in the conference played today, all highlighted by Arizona's come-from-behind victory on the road at Michigan. Down by 11, came back and won to defend the #1 plate.
3 teams in action tomorrow, too. I'll be over at SC for their game against Cal State Bakersfield. And been pretty good for the conference so far. I think November was good for the conference. December's been pretty good. Arizona obviously leading the charge, but right now, the Pac-12 third in conference RPI in the country, which is good.
Well, the worst record in the Pac-12 is 500. So everybody's 500 or above.
And as we talked about earlier, record not so much as important as individual RPI, conference RPI, individual strength of schedule, conference strength of schedule. So if you're third right now in RPI, that's a good sign for getting as many teams as you would like in the NCAA tournament.
And that's a basket that a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to, but Wanna-Bail, good effort inside, and my eye immediately goes over to the guy cheering hardest on the bench in front of the UCLA team was the head coach, Steve Alford. Because I think, as you said before, Wanna-Bail is going to be important to this team as this season wears on.
He knows that they can help him. And we mentioned in the first half, hasn't played basketball in a long time because of leaving Texas Tech and because of the knee surgery. He can help them, and Steve Alford knows it, but if he's struggling and not comfortable and not impacting the game, you can't play him. So games like this in the second half tonight are good stretches for him to get himself back confident and figuring it out to impact the game.
7 points for Wanna-Bail. I like it.
Career high.
Yep, every time he scores now. And he's just barely over 30 minutes in his UCLA career. The Bruins over their average of 88 points. Bruins have hit 100 a number of times this year. I think this is going to go a long way to getting that bad taste in their mouth coming up from Missouri. They're going to feel a lot better about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that was their first true road game. And as we talked about, that wasn't a bad loss. It would have been a good win if they had won.
Ended up losing by 9.
I think the problem everyone had with that was they had an 8-point lead at halftime, and you didn't finish the game. So that's what got everyone talking. I think if they had been down 8 at halftime and lost the game by 10, I don't think there would have been as much conversation about it.
Nick Kazemi and David Brown have checked in for UCLA. And Aubrey Williams is also in for the Bruins. And Corey Alford, Steve Alford's second son on this team. There he is again, Montrell Scott. Montrell Scott's got 24 points. Or make it 27, excuse me.
Scott could play in this conference, no doubt.
27 on the road against UCLA. And I'll tell you, last year Prairie View got beat by 42. They're looking at a 23-point deficit. They're probably going to spring onto the bus. And there's a lot for them to be happy about tonight. And they're competing all the way to the buzzer. Throw it up and in. David Brown.
Fan favorite, David Brown. Every time he scores.
Another modern-day kid. He went to the same high school as the Ware twins. Inside, stumbling backwards and throwing it up. If you're looking at averages, Prairie View has been averaging about 74 points a game, so they're right on pace and doing it against UCLA. That's one of the things they're going to be happy about as they move on to Kalamazoo. It's a long road trip, 3 weeks.
They don't go home at all in 3 weeks?
Nope. And by the time they're done with non-conference, they will have played in 7 different cities.
Have to spend a whole day doing laundry.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. You run out of socks. Plus all the practice gear, you got to find a place to eat. You got to find a place to practice. When you're on the road, you got to deal with weather. Weather in the Northeast has been awful, and they're expecting another storm coming in.
It's been awful everywhere, it seems like.
And now these guys have to trek all the way to Kalamazoo, Michigan. Byron Rim, we mentioned before, a local guy when he was the captain at Ventura College back in '96. They won the state title. He also coached at Pasadena City College, Chaffey, and Cal State San Bernardino, all local schools.
Well, I'll tell you, when you're on the road that much, it's a good time to bond as teammates. You know, you can't separate. You're together all the time and can help build some chemistry with your team.
That's it. We'll just run the clock out, and UCLA is going to improve to 9-1. And for Steve Alford, career victory number 472. As UCLA beats Prairie View.